I have an announcement to make, and I also want to just kind of go through some ideas, some real takeaways from this scenario. So let me get started. I want to just go over the what P. Diddy has been up to in the news recently. There's a couple of articles saying, one says Sean Diddy Combs wants to buy the Carolina Panthers, sign Colin Kaepernick, and Steph Curry wants to help. Whoa. I'm loving that kind of news. That just brought a smile to my face. So let me go over the details really quick. So basically, the Panthers NFL team is reportedly being sold under amidst some allegations about the current owner, Jerry Richardson, who has been basically, he's been accused of accused of sexual misconduct and using racist language at work. Surprise, surprise, right? So after they announced that they were selling this, P. Diddy, he sent a tweet on Sunday night. He says, "I would like to buy the @Panthers, spread the word, retweet." He said, "There are no majority African-American NFL owners. Let's make history." Then shortly after, Steph Curry says that he wants in. He said, he tweeted, "I want in." So this is pretty interesting. They say that the Panthers, that 4 former Panthers employees have received significant monetary settlements due to inappropriate workplace comments and conduct by the owner, Richardson. So he's supposed to sell at the end of the season. So Forbes magazine said that Diddy is the richest rapper of 2017 with a net worth of $120 million. And I think they reported that he made $130 million pre-tax in 2017, or maybe it's the previous year. And then Curry made $47 million in 2017. So now listen, first, before I get all the people, the trolls doing all this, it's not about these stars. It's not about these entertainers. It's not about these sports figures. I am not a person who believes that we should, worship entertainers or sports figures. But I think there's takeaways here. And I think that if we use entertainers to influence our culture negatively, then we surely should take situations like this and see how we can look at get positive, inspiration from it or ideas from it. So that's where that's going. I don't know P. Diddy. I've heard negative things about him. I heard positive things about him, but I'm not going there. I'm just looking at this scenario for takeaways that we can apply in our own personal lives. So back to the story. Now, why is P. Diddy sitting here with all this money? Let's see. They say for his pre-tax earnings of $130 million this year, it is based on lucrative partnerships with Diageo's, Ciroc Vodka, Hefty Steaks and companies that include Revolt TV, DeLeon Tequila, and Aqua Hydrate alkaline water. They said the bulk of his money for this 12 months came from the estimated $70 million that he made from when Global Brands Group bought a majority stake in Sean John last November. The deal left him with a reported 20% of the company, and is a company that he founded and grew into an international brand, Sean John. So they say it does nearly $500 million in annual sales. That retail game is no joke, man. The margins are amazing in retail. So anyway, he also made some good money from his tour. They said he did a Bad Boy Family Reunion tour, 25 dates. And one of the dates at the Barclays Center, 19,000 seats, sold out in 7 minutes. 19,000 seats sold out in 7 minutes. And then they say he gets 8 figures from Ciroc. So that's where he got his money from. Let's see what he had to say about this. I want to just play his clip of what he had to say before I get into the takeaways. And then I'm going to also make a little announcement and share some news for the ladies out there. Give me 1 second here. All right, let's hear what Diddy had to say.
Okay, y'all, this is just some breaking news. North Carolina Panthers, okay? North Carolina Panthers are up for sale. I believe it's time to turn the franchise over to new ownership. I need to send a message out to everybody in the state of North Carolina. I will be the best NFL owner that you can imagine. I will immediately address the Colin Kaepernick situation and put him in the running for next year's starting quarterback. It's just competition, baby. It's just competition. But also, I will have the best halftime show, the best selection of music, and we will win Super Bowl.
All right, Diddy. He making some promises. He said he will handle the Kaepernick situation, and he will put him in the running for quarterback. And I believe him on the halftime show. It'll probably be the best halftime shows you've ever seen. And then he said they'll win Super Bowl after Super Bowl. I could believe it. Listen, this is something that, you know, I mean, I like to see this kind of thing, but of course, this is something that the time has come. It's really come and gone before, but I guess it's coming again because we dominate in sports in the area of, you know, athletic superiority, but as far as ownership and things like that, we haven't gotten involved. And if we have the product, then we should have ownership in the product. So I'm really happy to see this happening. The thing that I loved about this is when he talked about wanting to put Kaepernick on the roster, Kaepernick tweeted and said he wants in on the ownership side. Forget running the football. He said he wants to sit in the owner's box up there. So again, some of the things I really love about this, and this is not even, I just want to point out, it's not about it being, it's not the star power. It's not Steph Curry. It's not about it being P. Diddy or any of those people. It's the attitude of confidence, you know, even like in my own household, just things that like today, my sons, when I left home for a little bit and came back, they had just moved their room around. They're 9 and 12. They just moved all the furniture around their room and resituated everything. You know, I just love that kind of thing when I see it in, you know, our sons and our men just taking control and getting out there and doing the dang thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I love about this situation. And so also there's quite a few more takeaways that I want to share. I think that what we can learn from this as a collective is just, hold on, let me go back. That we, especially with the new year coming up, I think we need to just be thinking about being bold enough to say, look, call me first, raise your hand to say, look, this is something I want to do. It's big, it's never been done. You know, it costs billions of dollars to do this. You know, there is going to be challenging, but he's bold enough to say, hey, I want to do this and declare it. And I love that. I love when I see our men do that. I love when I see our women do that. I love when I see our children do that. And then, you know, Diddy, he always has his confidence hat on. You know, he's always going to be confident. And the thing is, a lot of times we fall into these old stereotypes. When I see films from, you know, times when there was the human trafficking they call slavery, and all of that, even though it never really ended. One thing that I would always hear them say is, you don't need to know that. They would, white supremacists would say to black men and black people, you don't need to know that. What are you doing looking at that or thinking about that? And that's something that I think we fall into still. Like, why are you thinking about how to build sustainable communities and build a city for black people? Why are you thinking about how to just build a huge tech startup? Why are you thinking about owning an NFL team? It's like we fall back into those old habits or that old way of thinking, to where as a black person, you don't need to be thinking about important things. You don't need to be thinking about things that have a major impact or a global impact. And yes, we do. We need to be thinking about things. One thing I love about Marcus Garvey, he came up with the Ethiopian national anthem for black people. He came up with several businesses for black people. I mean, can you imagine in like the early 1900s saying you're going to have a steamship line? Not only so that black people could go to their homeland, excuse me, but so that African nations and nations within the African diaspora could trade with one another using those steamships. And he actually acquired, I think, 3 steamships. He had a doll making company. He also created a flag. These are the types of things we need to sit down and think about. And that is what I love about what these black men are doing. They're bold enough and they're confident enough to say, you know what, it's time for there to be black ownership in the NFL. And it's been time. And then, being economically and mentally strong. And I know that economics have been systematically funneled away from the black community. But as I talk about in tech a lot, we have to continue to find that loophole, that chink in the armor that we can get around and still get the resources that we need. And, I'm glad that these brothers are looking at solving problems in an economic way, and that they're mentally strong enough to say, listen, I'm ready to throw my hat in the ring on this. And then I think, especially with this new year coming up, because I feel like 2018, one thing I believe we're going to see a lot of resolutions. It's enough of looking at the issues, talking about the issues, pointing at who's starting the issues and who's contributing to the issues. It's a time now for just resolving the issue, coming to the table with resolutions. So I love that they are taking on these new challenges, because that's what we have to do in order to have our nations back, take them back from colonial powers. Wherever you are in the African diaspora, we have to start taking on new challenges. We have to start taking on new responsibilities. So that's what I take on. I mean, this is what I take from it in my personal life, and again, this is what inspires me about this. I just look at this and it just, something rises up in me. And the thing is that this term has been just moving around in my spirit lately, the God spot. That's just a place inside you that speaks to you of your greatness, because we do deal with a lot of trauma on a daily basis, not just to mention within our just daily life, like your family, your job and stuff, but just dealing with the systematic oppression, seeing our brothers and sisters go through so much in a public way, like the slave trade in Libya, people being executed on film and all that. All of that is there to mentally paralyze us. But again, when we get into that space, when we take time for ourselves and get into that God spot, then our greatness just comes up and we get inspired and motivated to do new things, take on new challenges, and do things like Diddy, Steph, and Colin Kaepernick are trying to do with this football team. the other thing I love is to see these brothers working together. You know, it's only so much we can do by ourselves. They say if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together, you know, and we need to go far. We need to go into the next generation. So I love seeing these brothers collaborate. And the thing about Diddy that I really like is, you know, he just came up there with a vision. He's like, if I owned the Panthers, it would be like this. This is how I see it being. You know, I'm coming in day one solving problems. You know, I'm coming in bringing a new flavor to it that you're gonna love, and we're gonna win, win, win. See, I love that attitude, and that's the attitude that we have to have in our daily lives when we're trying to start these businesses, when we're trying to get our families on track, when we're trying to do new projects. Whatever it is, we just have to take on that energy, all of this, the boldness, the confidence, the economic and mental strength. We have to be willing to take on new challenges, collaborate, and have a vision. Now, of course, I understand the political climate we've been in to agree. I say I'm less confused about the political climate that we've been in and the system that we live in. So I am going to say a few caveats. If they do, because they haven't purchased it yet, I believe they will, and I hope they will. But if they do purchase it, we can't let that distract us, because sometimes we go for what I've heard other people call symbolic victories. If Diddy, Steph Curry, Colin Kaepernick own the Panthers, that is not solving systematic racism, white supremacy. And so we would have to still be focused on that. And everybody has something that they need to do in their personal lives to fight against this systematic racism, white supremacy. If you're a white person, you say you're not racist, fight against systematic racism, white supremacy then. If you're a Black person and you don't like racism, fight against racism, white supremacy then. And some of it is just stop participating in certain things, you know, or start participating in certain things. It doesn't even, you know, whatever, I'm not going to go too deep into that. So anyway, use this as inspiration, but don't dial into it as, okay, they did something, so I did something. No, it should inspire you to do something or do something more, you know, and then keep up the momentum. Yeah, I think when they buy the team, that is a certain amount of economic and mental, I think it's an economic and a mental example for us that we should keep. It's going to release a certain kind of energy that we should keep going in our personal lives. So also, I want to talk about Black men and Black women in general, the whole gender war thing, right? Because a lot of times what we see about Black men and Black women, it's just about all these negative stereotypes and ideas, you know, and I feel like we need to believe in each other again. You know, we need to take the narrative and accentuate the positives about one another. Yeah, okay, I met a Black woman before who was me. Yeah, I met a Black man before who was me. Yeah, I see different things in the media that are not good about Black men or Black women. But I choose to look at the positive. Man, it's been so many positive, wonderful Black men and women in my life. And that is what I choose to focus on, because I think that, you know, one thing that I've learned as a married woman, especially, you rarely shame, criticize, ridicule someone into their greatness. In other words, you just making a person feel bad about themselves, pointing out all their failures, pointing out everything they've ever done wrong, you know, reading a list to them of just how they're inadequate, criticizing them, ridiculing them. That person doesn't turn around and say, you know what? I want to be better for you. Thanks for pointing out how I'm just how I'm just so inadequate and horrible. Now I just want to be better, especially not a man. because, you know, the more that you put a person down, the more resistant they are to you, the more you repel them. So if you do not know the power of a compliment, if you don't know the power of encouragement and admiration, I am here to tell you, you need to let some honey drip from those lips. That brings the bees. When you, even as a mom, you know, I can point out negative things my kids do. And I have one child, every time I talk about something negative he's doing or I get on him, he just sits there like a deer in headlights. And he just, it's like, okay, you finished now? But boy, if I start giving him compliments, oh gosh, he loves it. It just gives him another level of energy to get back into doing the work that he needs to do. So I think that as a Black men and Black women, we have to celebrate the positive things. We're not doing that enough, and we're looking at the negative things and pointing them out and buying into them and diving into it and analyzing it, breaking it down. But the positive things, the things that are really about who we are and who we know ourselves to be, we're not really pulling on that, because, you know, it's kind of like a perpetuating cycle. It's like, does art imitate life or does life imitate art? It's both. But we know that, you know, art, or the vision that we cast, can cause that thing to come into reality. And then from that reality, it also stimulates more art. So it's a perpetuating cycle. So when you speak life to people and you lift them up, Black men, Black women, Black children, then it causes that to be cast out, or it causes more of that to be multiplied in life. So, you know, I really think that the answer to our gender wars is to stop buying into the stereotype of I'm gonna read you and I'm gonna spill the tea and I'm gonna be petty and I'm gonna just point out all your flaws because it's fun. You know what I'm saying? Now, in certain circumstances, when you are retaliating against people who have done harm to you, then I think there could be a place. I think there's a place for being critical, but just being critical of the collective of Black men and Black women, I don't think that that's helpful. So that's why I have this quote here. This is from a explorer. His name was Count Volnoy. He's a white explorer. And my thing, you know, even though I'm going to speak about this quote, I don't feel like I need anyone outside my race or anyone even outside me to validate who I am. But I just want to use this quote because this is just an example of who we really are as Black people. This race of Black men, today our slave and the object of our scorn, is the very race to which we owe our arts, sciences, and even the use of speech. I love to bring up this quote because when we think of Black men, too often, because of media images, because of just the system that we're a part of, we see everything besides the men and the women who everywhere they travel brought civilization, brought education. You know, they brought the sciences, they brought the arts, they brought the mathematics, they brought speech, you know, and that God spot is still within us. And that is what we have to strive to bring out. So the other thing I want to do is talk to the ladies out there. Well, I'm talking about loving each other and taking on new challenges and doing new things. I have to let you guys know that as a result of me working on myself and building myself, I have experienced some really great retreats recently. And they've inspired me because at a time where I was feeling burnout, feeling like I wanted to level up, feeling like I wanted to really transform myself and go to the next level, I was able to get amongst a small group of sisters and at a retreat and just get renewed and refreshed on so many levels. So that's why I want to partner, or that's why I am partnering with Your Black World to do a women's business and wellness luxury retreat in May 2018. So we're doing a lot of planning behind the scenes, and I'm telling you, it's going to be so amazing. People have hit me up before asking me to do events and things like that. So now I'm going to do it. And if you go to mwbshow.com, you can get on the email list so that we can send you updates and information about it. If you want to get more information, go to mwbshow.com. But I'm so excited about this because as Black women, we just do not get that sacred space. You know, shout out to Chef Aki, because that's one of the retreat that I went on in August that she had, that just made me feel like, you know what, I want to do something like this that's expanded. You know, I want to do something like this. Again, we need to have more of these. You know, I went to a site that has retreats for the worldwide retreats, and I never really saw any pictures of the retreat where there were like Black women there and all that. And then their rates were like $1,900 to $5,000 for a retreat. And I'm like, no, we can do something that's luxurious, that's beautiful, at a lower price. And so I'm really excited about releasing this. It's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, again, May 2018. I think it's going to be around May 18th. But again, go to mwbshow.com to get the information. And I'm going to tell you, one thing that really stuck out to me, maybe two, it's probably been a whole lot of things actually, but these women had gone on a wine tasting tour on a bus. They were on a bus on a wine tasting tour. And the way I heard the story, they were just having a good time. They were doing their thing. And then like the white people on the bus were like, they were being too loud or whatever. And they kicked them off the bus. And, you know, I was just like, wow, just think these hardworking women are trying to get together, have some sister time, go out here to a wine tasting tour and just relax and just chill. And, you know, they were thrown off the bus for no apparent reason, had to sue these people and had to go through all of this. And so many times it's like I go out sometimes and I get my sunglasses on and I have to get ready because I never know what type of space I might have to deal with, because so many people have these negative stereotypes of Black people, Black women, or whatever their reasoning is. I really don't care, but I have to get a tough exterior on and just get ready to deal with some real negativity, you know, and that can wear on you. And I just wanted to create a space for Black women where you can be pampered, where you are the star, you are the important guest, so that you can level up in business related to your health, related to your fitness, so we can serve our family, our men even better. Because I'm not one of those people who do women's events to where it's like, yeah, it's about the women, girl power, or Black feminist kind of thing. I'm not on that. You know, my thing is, as Black men and Black women, we heal together. As one grows, the other grows. We, you know, even with me and my husband, there's been times where I've been weak and he's been the strong one, or times where I've been the strong one, he's been, you know, needing my support. So I think if we support one another in our healing and our growing and all of that, it's going to be just amazing. So let me just stop talking about that because I'm so excited. Again, guys, go to mwbshow.com to learn more about this. And as far as Diddy, Steph Curry, and Colin Kaepernick, I wish you guys the absolute best. Whatever support you need from the community, I'm definitely on board, and I hope everybody in our community gathers around you guys and that you're able to make this purchase. And, you know, I think these types of acts, just going into 2018, this is just the beginning for all of us. Again, it's not just about those people who have the hundreds of millions of dollars or the millions. I mean, even if you're about to start up your first little t-shirt company or whatever it is, tech company, you know, I just see all of those things happening for us this year. So I love you guys. I hope that, you know, this information was helpful and positive for you. And I'll see you guys in the next